Hey everybody, my name is Mark Nugent and you are watching me live, and I just realized I didn't center my camera properly, but that's fine. So as you guys can see the title, don't panic, everything's gonna be fine. I was reaching out to some community leaders this evening and I thought it'd be, I know everyone is sitting at home, maybe stressing out about Monday with schools being closed. I mean, it's quite an effect having excuse me, having 36,000 kids out from the district all abruptly. And even my son is up at midnight on a Friday night because we got no plans tomorrow. Was planning on getting up early to go see this classical academy charter school open up with some county education board members, but that got canceled. So I've got nothing else going on. So I figured, why not talk to the community, tell them don't panic. We're gonna have some community members on. Actually, there you go. We're going to have Amy Fan West on in a minute. Let me put that close. So Amy's going to be on in a minute. I'm going to have her join us. And I'm just texting my son if he can bring me something. And we're going to go ahead and call Amy Fan West here in a moment. So I just give her a call. She's already been prepped. She's waiting for me to call her. And so let's give her a ring. And if you guys feel free to comment, ask your questions, and we'll talk about things that are going on affecting you. I was hoping to have my wife on to speak, as she is an operating room nurse with over 20 years experience, who was telling me about this 6 weeks ago, how serious it's going to get. And now she's proven right, but she already went to bed. She had a long day at the operating room today at the hospital, and maybe we get on tomorrow. And I've got a prosecutor lined up tomorrow, probably a couple more doctors, and we'll talk. Okay, so let's give Amy Fan West a phone call here and see what she has to say. Hold on one second. Apologize. Our studio assistants are out for the evening as it's midnight and we're live streaming, so why not? We got nothing going on. So let's call Amy Fan West and get her opinion as a parent and as a newly elected committee member. She got elected the other day. Hello?
Hey, Mark. It's Amy.
Hi, Amy. And by the way, we are live. Excuse me.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
And it seems like got 10 or 20 people watching us at midnight. And thank you for joining us. So I just wanted to get your opinion about what's going on. What's your opinion on take as a mother, as a community leader, as a newly elected central committee member? What's your take on this and what people should do? What are you doing right now? Et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. So right now, our family, we are living life, and we're traveling right now. We're in Vegas. Recently, I believe last week, we were flying to Idaho, just a break right after the election. We just need to unwind, recuperate. And so me and my husband flew to Idaho, and it's, of course, as you know, with the whole threat of the coronavirus, no one's on the plane, basically, as one of the picture I post on my Facebook page. And so we're doing live, but, this is one thing I want to encourage everyone who's hearing me tonight. Of course, be vigilant. There's no need to panic. Stay calm. Because as parents, that's what we do. We stay calm when it comes, dealing with family issue, because our children are looking up to us. Okay. And the calmer we are, we're able to think clearly. So right now there's no need to panic. We should live our life. Of course, take precaution. Our family, we are, of course, taking vitamin C, 1,000 milligram, one in the morning, one at night. And then we also, wash our hands. We teach our children, our kids, to wash their hands all the time. Okay. And then we also, be careful. If we do shake someone's hand, we wash afterward.
Okay.
And, just do normal, stay healthy, eat,
okay.
Have enough sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, just all those things.
As you are, I don't have the pictures of your family yet, but I know that those are, maybe I'll show them on your website. My son is actually listening in. He has his
Oh,
headset
great.
on. He can hear you, and the microphone's set. And I know you have kids. I don't know how old they are, but he probably is wondering how old your kids are for someone to hang out with. How old your kids?
Yeah. So we have three boys. They are 8, 6, and 4.
That's awesome. Yeah, my son is 10, so the
That's
boys are similar in
awesome.
age. Say hi, Maverick. Say hello.
Yeah.
You got to take the microphone.
Hi, and what's your name?
Maverick.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I can't hear.
My name is Maverick.
Oh, Merrick.
Maverick, like Top Gun.
Okay, Maverick. Oh, yes, yes. Hey, well, I just want to encourage you too. As I have three boys, I tell them to always, wash their hands. Now they're more cautious washing their hands before eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then when they eat snack, they wash their hands as well. And, they're just drinking a lot of fluid water throughout the day, get enough sleep, and all the good stuff, and not to be afraid, because the coronavirus actually, it doesn't
Yep.
attack like children or healthy adults, but more likely it's 80 years
Okay.
old and older.
Are the
So
schools?
no need to panic.
And you're in the 37th congressional district, correct?
No, actually it's the 47th.
47th, that's correct.
Yeah.
And are the schools closed now in your area?
No, they're not. They're in Westminster. We're still open, but they're canceling all field trip right now.
Yeah, we,
all performance and stuff like that.
Yeah, they closed all the Irvine schools today until April
Oh, wow.
6th. Yeah, they looking at the letter right here now that they sent out this morning when we were had the mayor on talking live of what was going on, because people wanted answers. They want to know what's going on, and they want to do something. And it's very difficult to people be told just do nothing and stay home. That's really hard to do for a lot of people.
Exactly.
And that's why people are panic buying and do all this other stuff. And I know there's a lot of parents out there. They are like, well, what are we going to do about childcare? And they got a lot of issues. So that's why I wanted to have you on as a community leader and a mother yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and today, when this morning Trump, actually this evening, I guess for us, when Trump basically declared the state of emergency, what he's doing is actually to free up money to help, address this epidemic kind of thing going on, because he wants to reduce the spike. Because he knows that any flu, it gets higher, right? But he's going to minimize that with the money that we have and the expertise. He's bringing in, private sector as well as, the government to help.
I see some indicators of good things. Gil Cisneros, a hardcore Democrat, which of course always says he hates Trump. He actually posted on social media today about supporting the Trump's administration to help us. So that's a good sign.
Awesome.
So we actually have Democrats saying they're actually going to work with the president now and leave their partisan nonsense behind and work for the American people, which is great. So there's silver linings, and crises tend to bring people together, and people are tired of the nonsense and they just want us to work for the best.
Exactly. I think I agree with you completely, because during my campaign, that's what I realized too. The American people are so fed up of, the two-party in a way. They want actually the people caring for them, the government caring for them in a way. That's what Trump is doing. He's showing the people, hey, you guys matter first. And this is a step I'm taking to help bring the private sector and the Fed together to take care of this. So it's awesome, and all this that we hear him speak tonight is amazing.
And you live in Westminster, correct?
That's correct.
Do you know if they've had any emergency city council meetings or anything like that to talk with the public?
I know they post out on the Westminster website of just, being cautious, to do good hygiene, use common sense, protect yourself, stay away from large crowd, all those things that we should do.
So,
and I think it's good to do that.
I understand you're at the congressional level. So, has there anything come out at your level, Central Committee level or congressional level, that you can tell us that's new that we maybe haven't heard, do you think?
You know what? For congressional, federal, of course, as you know today, the House, they vote on to try to pass a bill to help with the whole coronavirus. And I think that's great. They're coming together on that. and that's something important for us. But remember, I think I noticed too, even though this is a health issue, the Democrats, it seems like they're still using this, which I give them props to. They use this fear tactic, and they're good at this, which I will give them props for. But the thing is that they shouldn't use it as a fear tactic to the community and to the people.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be bringing community together, because how government does in my country, the Commons regime, is that they bring fear to the people, so there's chaotic, and then they must rely upon the government for help. Does that make sense? So,
Oh yeah,
so
I,
we
I,
don't.
I agree.
Yeah.
But also,
so that's why
America is one of those places where people follow the rules. So there's no reason to
Mhm.
have like a military dictatorship here, because people basically
yes.
are following the rules, except for the panic buying they're doing right now that everyone's talking about. We pretty much follow the rules here and comply. So
Right.
that's why things are so nice here versus, some countries, the people don't listen to the government. They just don't.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've
And
been
there's
those places.
law and order,
Yeah.
and it's good to have that, and that's why we have things in place.
Yeah.
But of course, there's
Yeah.
within that there's freedom. That's why
Yeah.
it's so unique about America.
Yeah, I was going to share with you. We actually had an emergency city council meeting last night. As you know, I'm involved in city stuff. And they took some steps to protect the public. So I just wanted to share that. And they're looking at the website right now, our viewers.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, that's
I just
awesome.
wanted to do that. And also, I know you're out at dinner right now in Vegas with your family, so I don't want to keep you too long. If you could share our broadcast and, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much for having me, and anytime. My
Okay, I
pleasure.
really appreciate it, and it's awesome that you are always so easy to get a hold of. So, when you run again, vote for Amy Fan West for my viewers, and congratulations on your recent victory to Central Committee. So you won.
And I cannot wait to roll up my sleeves and help the GOP in Orange County and to make
Yeah.
it better and to win back more seats in 2022.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm looking at your picture now, and I have a feeling that we're going to be watching each other get old and gray for the next 30, 40 years as as we make everything better. So, thank you so much.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you. And
Okay.
thank you, everyone who's hearing us tonight.
Okay, take
Have
care.
a great night. God
Bye-bye.
bless you guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, and that was Amy Fan West. I really appreciate her joining us. I know our viewership isn't the greatest, but why not? Let's do this and let's keep talking. Usually, we kind of spread these in real times. I know I've been getting, I think, 400 or 500 people each watching these, and if we really advertise it, we'll get 2,000 or 3,000, sometimes up to 5,000 local. Coming up in the near future, next Wednesday evening, I'm going to be interviewing Huntington Beach Council member Michael Posey. We have Fred Whitaker coming up on the show, and then possibly some events we're going to be, but that's in the pipeline. I do have one other person I'd like to call that she said we can call her. She's an advocate and very vocal in the local community. I thought I was going to have a lawyer tonight. It was pretty awesome that I was texting people and they're like, sure, I'll do it. But then they're just getting kind of tired. So let's call Pam so she can, yeah. Okay, I'm just prepping her that we're going to call in a minute. So if you guys got any comments, I see people that are watching. So go ahead and comment. This is more of a live chat. Just wanted to sit with you guys and hang out because it's Friday night. Got no plans in the morning. Figure why not do a little live streaming. I had the entire, as you can see, I've got, background. I've got the full setup. The only thing I didn't do was do multiple cameras because, well, it's just me. You don't have a bunch of guests. We'll have cameras up, but I figured why not? Let's do this and let's talk to you guys and maybe get you guys some answers and you guys can vent a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of social media posts about, the panic buying, the grocery stores, the worried about how to take care of our kids next week and so on and so forth. Also, someone brought up about the lunch programs. There's a plan in place. If you see the email from superintendent and the school district, they actually outline about the meals and everything. So if you're a parent, you probably got this email today. Just go and check that out, and I'll give you some information you need. But don't panic; everything's gonna be okay. Let's see if Pam is available. And also, let me show you guys the website. So this is from last night. They had emergency city council meeting. So you guys can go here at cityofirvine.org. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting to get tired. Like, I want to do another phone call. Usually I don't do these so late, but you know, this entire studio is set up, and I was like, it took forever to set up this morning, and I said, figure, why not just use it? Anyway, let me just make sure this person's ready. And thought we're going to have Greg Rath, but he, our future congressman, but he, I think he went to bed already. I know it's the middle of the night, and I have to admit, there's a little bit of guilt because our family's very prepared for this. We've been through way worse crises, this being a military family, and you know, I just want to make sure you guys know it's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. You know, the supply chain is going to catch up in a week or two, and we're going to be good to go. And in a few weeks, we're going to be like, wait, we overreacted, but you know what? Everyone's safe. We're good to go. Okay, let's just give her a call. Why not?
Hi, this is Pam Red.
Okay, she's not there. So I don't know, man. Usually there's comments. There's a bunch of people watching. So if you guys get any questions, let me know. Hate to say it, there's no new information other than we're just kind of sitting back and they're analyzing, and you guys are watching the news just as much as I am. And losing topics to talk about. Usually I have a script and everything involved in that. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So maybe I'll end it soon if we don't get ourselves a caller. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and call it a night. Really appreciate Amy Fan West calling us. And we'll probably have Kelly Earnby on tomorrow or the next day, as there's not a whole lot going on these days. We're all just supposed to sit home and relax, Netflix and chill, and make sure you guys staying safe out there. I know the grocery stores are packed and we're supposed to stay away from people. And the first thing everyone does is go to the grocery store, of course, to stock up. I did go to the dentist today, and the dentist greeted me, and she just sprayed us both with, me and my son, and she said, put out your hands, and she sprayed us both with, the Purell hand sanitizer, and we got our teeth done this afternoon. Went over to South Coast Plaza, and that place was a ghost town. I went just picked up something real quick, and there was nobody there except for the person at the store, and I had to. The store was empty, and it was just a shoe store. I picked up something up real quick, and I had to yell at him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, you have a customer," and got what I needed and took off and came home. So that's that. So he's got 7 people. So if you guys want to comment, have a conversation, give me some jumping off points, I'll answer your questions, whatever I know. Other than that, have a good weekend, I guess, and we'll have a bunch more people on very soon. All right, guys. Actually, let me try Pam one more time. So let's see if we can call her. So let's put that's wrong photo. Where is oh, here we go. There's Pam, and then where is it? Usually I'm very organized, so that's there we go. We're gonna call Pam Ragland, advocate and for families. Okay, no, she just texted me back. All right, so let's call her.
Hello.
Hi, Pam. You are live, and this is
Oh,
Mark
hey.
Nugent. How are you doing?
I'm good. How
I
are
was
you?
about to end the show. I'm getting super tired. I was yawning, and I'm like, one of the worst things you could do is stop talking on a live stream because your viewers will just bounce. So, I'm not sure. I sent you a text of what it looks like on my screen. Here, I'll just look. This is what it looks like. This is what the viewers are showing. So I'm gonna send a photo to you.
Okay.
So that's what the viewers are going to look at. So your picture of you is up. It says Pam Ragland, and I just spelled your name wrong.
Okay.
I just realized that. So it's fixed. So Pam Ragland, advocate. I wasn't sure to put family advocate or just advocate up there. And we have comment from the audience. Katarina Morrison says, great job. So thank you. So the theme of tonight, since we're all sitting at home doing nothing, was don't panic, because people are panicking. So let's not panic, and let's not buy every million thing in the store, and just don't stress. That's what I'm worried about. And I was just talking about how guilty I feel because I'm very low stress right now. I have zero stress. I have a live-in nurse. We have food. I used to do way more worse crises than this for 20 years straight. So I'm just very well prepared, and I just worry about my neighbors and those other parents that are dealing with a lot of stuff.
Right.
Okay. And I'm trying to read the comments for our viewers at the same time. So Lydia Coleman says, well, to know is they're considering acting martial law. I'm not particularly in favor of locking everyone down, but it'll stop the spread of it. Those sick will get better and stop the spread of it. So let me answer this comment, and then we'll get Pam's view. Lydia, the United States is a country of people that follow the rules. So there's really no reason to do martial law when everyone does kind of what they're told. And everyone, it is pretty much complying. So it's pointless to do martial law when everyone just follows what the government says to do. Like, hey, to keep you safe, please wash your hands, please stay indoors, and everyone does it. It's pointless. Martial law is for when people, don't want to listen and the government wants to oppose its will for certain reasons, et cetera, et cetera. So Pam, please tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a parent, I know you well, but the audience might not. And tell us your experience with schools and school districts and why people should not panic right now.
Okay. That's a lot.
Well, I know you could talk, so I just want to give you some guidelines. I'm not trying to agitate anybody. We're trying to calm them down. All these moms out there that might be single moms, don't know what to do come Monday with their kids and stressed out. They got to pay bills. There's
Right.
a lot of stress, and they might have an older family member that is at risk. So I just want to maybe reduce some stress in their small community and the small audience we have.
Right. So, yes, I'm a parent. I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. And one of my kids is in the Saddleback district, and she's off of school for 2 weeks now. Um, and she's got her own thing she's bummed about because they worked for 4 years for a choir concert trip to Hawaii that's getting canceled now. Um, and my son is homeschooled through a charter, and they're still operating. And I think that's an important lesson for everybody because the infrastructure is set up so that they can do things virtually, so they're not missing school. And the teachers are still, doing everything and all that. So, I think fear begets fear. So the best thing that we can do, I was talking to one of my clients today that has 3 kids, and my experience with district. So I've got my own kids. My kids have been in charter schools for a long time. My daughter's in a regular, not charter district now. My son's in homeschool charter. He's been privately homeschooled. I've had my kids in private school. So we've pretty much used every form of education there is in California. I can see the pros and the cons of it. But
Okay. And I was looking at your website. Just want to make sure a little bit about you because it's pretty interesting. Is that the PamRagland.com? Change doesn't have to be hard. Is that your website, right?
Yeah.
That's you?
That's one of my websites. My main site that I use is actually aiminghigher.com, but yeah, that's me too, the PamRagland.com. And Aiming Higher is kind of like a portal to all the different things I do. And Pam Ragland,
Gotcha.
I haven't been able to change that photo in like 10 years. So I call it my real estate photo. So I have to.
Okay, they're looking at your website now. You're one of the hidden warriors of the school district, which I kind of wanted to introduce people to you. I know you very well, but the public doesn't, and but our small group does, and what you do for the IEP kids and special education. When you and I both know that we deal with parents that are in extreme need, and they feel very alone. And I worry that my neighbors and my fellow parents might feel alone at this time, and they shouldn't. And maybe you have some commentary of why they should not feel alone, especially the single moms and even the dual parent households out there.
Right. Well, I think this might sound kind of esoteric, but we're never really alone. And what's interesting about the human condition is whenever we think that we're the only one that's in a certain situation, that's never actually true, right? So, I'll tell you guys all that I actually lost my house in 2008 and going into 2009. And how I actually learned to help kids with special education was I first learned the law fighting US Bank. And what I was surprised to find is that I thought I was the only person going through that. And I had an appeal that won and set a bunch of precedents. And they're actually teaching people about it in law school now. And when that happened, there were 2 pages of blog posts about my case before I even knew that I had won. And I had no idea there were other people going through the same thing I was going through. So what happens is sometimes we just keep our feelings to ourselves. But in doing so, we never really get the opportunity to find out that there are other people that are in the same boat as us or something similar. And once we start talking about it, we find out that we have our commonalities and our shared experiences, and we're really not alone. There are other people in our same boat. So I think in this time, it's good to like reach out to other people and say, hey, I'm running to Costco. Do you need anything?
Yep.
Or, what have you? Where can we find toilet paper? All the crazy things.
Yeah, some moms have actually been posting on social media saying, "Hey, I'll help you watch your kids." Other moms, I think that's great. Um, you know, we aren't alone. It's we're all here together, and yeah, I think we're gonna be okay. And I don't see reason to panic, but we shouldn't be embarrassed to feel we are alone. And I that came up as far as the embarrassment of maybe things we're experiencing when someone mentioned, "What about the kids that get free lunch at school and depend on those meals at school?" And that struck a nerve because I was one of those kids and I felt alone. I was very embarrassed about it when I was a 9, 10-year old, and you don't know where you're going to eat. And that's a horrible feeling. And granted, Irvine has probably a very small number of those people that are those kids that are in need, and actually probably feels worse for those kids because they're around so much wealth. Like I was I was a really poor kid. And it was a poor area, but I was even a poorer kid. So it's even more embarrassing and tough when everything else halves and you're a have not, and that's devastating. So, but
And I don't
you're
know,
never alone. Yeah.
is Irvine doing anything? I know, like, so it's
Um,
very interesting because in the state of
well,
California,
the
more than
schools are
50,
closed already.
but I mean, like LA set up some family centers so that people that
Okay.
need to bring their kids and,
Well,
or kids that need food and things like that.
okay. Let me put up. There was an email. I'll put it up on the screen so people can see it. I got and all parents got. Um, and it's from the superintendent, and they talked that as of today, schools are closed till 6th of April, and what it means, what are the next steps, how to stay connected to IUSD, and the teachers and staff are scrambling because they're going to be doing distance learning for the next few weeks. So kids are still going to be having curriculum, but it does pose significant challenges to the entire community. It's 36,000 kids suddenly pulled out of schools. What does it mean? What's the next steps? And you know, all that goes with it, the shock waves. So they're figuring that out now. They're gonna be. I got an email from the teacher, my son's teacher, saying that we're gonna have homework soon. They're putting the curriculum together to be able to do distance learning as we speak. So that's what's going on in Irvine.
Right,
So
which I think there's pros and cons to that. So I was talking to one of my clients today who has 3 kids, and she's been working at home at her job. Her husband actually works for Apple, and so he's at home when he can. Sometimes he can't be home, and he usually travels to China. So as soon as I heard about this, I texted her and said, "Hey, don't send your husband to China." So what's interesting, and we both had the same thought, was really a lot more of what we're doing these days could be done virtually, but a lot of people haven't had that opportunity. And it took me back to when I used to be a consultant, and I actually had a client called Halliburton, and they have sites in Houston, Dallas, and Duncan, Oklahoma. So I could never be in all the sites at one time. So I would go to one every day, and then I would come home and I started working at home. So I kind of got used to the idea of being able to be productive at home. But a lot of people haven't had that opportunity, and there is a learning curve for the kids. And I also want to say this, that the kids getting into special needs, the kids that have dyslexia typically have processing issues, visual processing always, and then very often 95% have also auditory processing issues. And those kids are going to have a more difficult time with distance learning. So and just to let the parents know out there, it's great to have an additional opportunity, but those kids might need some accommodations on the computer screens, or they might need someone helping them. They might need to get notes from the teacher. They might have a more difficult time on the computer screen than they do in the classroom because the computer screens have a little bit of a flicker. So if kids are having a hard time processing what they see, so like visual processing is not acuity with your eyes,
okay,
once it comes into your
Okay.
eyes, going into your brain.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I know
yeah.
I want you to go more into this. I know we have some parents that might have some kids with some IEPs, so we can discuss that. And to the audience, to the, I don't know, 10, 15 people are watching us now, that Pam is an expert and an advocate in the special education arena, and she's one of the warrior moms from the local school district. So when she speaks about IEP, I hope you guys listen and take something away and comment and ask her questions while we have her on. So please, Pam, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's one. So that's an interesting challenge, and we've experienced it already because I work a lot with a lot of the distance charter schools, and this has been one of the challenges that a lot of the kids with dyslexia. You may find that through this process that your kid has challenges that you didn't realize they had, because to be honest with you, a lot of the districts, including Irvine, are not doing a very good job with identifying and helping the kids with dyslexia. So pay attention to that if you have kids that have IEPs, or you have kids that maybe they're already spending a lot of time on their homework at home more than their friends, or you're having to help them more. Those are some signs that your child might have dyslexia, and if it hasn't been identified, this might be something that you can become aware of, an issue that you didn't realize was there. It's about 25% of the kids that have dyslexia. It's quite a lot.
Well,
um, and if you know your kids already have dyslexia, or they're having challenges, and dyslexia can show up in reading, writing, and math. So a lot of people think that it's just with reading, but it's not.
okay.
So, if you already know that your kids are struggling in those areas, you might find that they're going to struggle more with the distance learning.
Okay.
So they might need extra
So
help.
I have a question. If a parent is wondering about these things and they want to get an IEP, well, how do they go about it with their schools?
Oh, okay, so the process in California, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because we haven't been in this position before. But generally speaking, here's the process: you send an email to your school principal, or you can also send it to the school district, but your principal will do. And you say that you would like to have your child assessed for special education or for learning challenges. And then I always think if you suspect that there's a challenge, put it in the email, but also give them the things that you notice. Like, I noticed that my child is doing this, or I notice we're having to spend 2 hours a night doing homework, and third grade, and things like that. And so, and the reason for that is that they're responsible at the end of the day for identifying all the things that need to be assessed and doing it. So if they don't find something, if they don't assess for something they should have, then you can kind of hold them accountable for that. And unfortunately, these days, there's a lot of shortcuts and um, basically trying to get around the law in a lot of the school districts, including Irvine.
Okay.
So they may not
Yeah.
necessarily do what they should.
How long is the process? That's another question I know they're going to ask. How long is the process between a parent contacting the school and an IEP given to a student that needs it?
So the law in California. So there's federal law, and that's called IDEA, and then there's California education codes. And the states are allowed to give kids more rights, but not less. So in California, we've given kids the right to have an assessment plan done within 15 days. And then from that point on, it's 60 days until the assessment needs to be completed and you have a meeting. Now, there's an exception to that. And the exception is whenever there's a break of more than 5 days, then the time pauses. Okay. And then there's some weird rules for if it's within 30 days of the end of the year, which I won't get into that
What's
right
an
now.
on average from time that parent notifies the principal to awarded IEP? Can you give me like an average range?
Yeah. So the it's generally going to be 75 days because
Okay.
you have once you tell them
Now,
about the assessment, they have 15 days to get you a
okay.
plan.
Okay. Is there any way to shorten it? The 75 days? I'm sorry to cut you
Um,
off.
No, that's okay legally. So the first thing is, as soon as you get the assessment plan, sign it because the time doesn't start the next 60 days until you've signed it. So just make sure you sign it right away. And then generally not. Like, they're allowed to take the 60 days, so they can do that. And usually they do. Sometimes they'll get it done faster. There is an exception to that, and that has to do with being at the end of the school year. So if you request the assessment with less than 60 days to go, but more than 30 in the end of the school year, then they need to get it done by that school year. But if you wait until it's 30 days from the end of the school year, they can go into the next school year to complete it.
Okay. Appreciate that. So any other, you're down to one viewer now. I guess when we stream at 12:30 in the morning, surprised we have anybody watching us right now. So appreciate it. Is there anything else we could talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone just needs to not panic. Like, we're doing a lot of kind of groupthink and worrying and not really thinking about why we're doing things. Like this toilet paper thing supposedly started because somebody started a rumor that they were going to take the toilet paper and paper towel factories and convert them to making masks, but that was actually not true. So that's why
Wow.
that's where the run on toilet paper started. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and that's one thing. I have not said the T word. I'm not going to discuss even that. I'm just not going to talk about it. I just tell people to relax. It's going to be okay. And I know that, people like you and I that have been to hell and back, this isn't very stressful for us, but I know for other people it is. And I know even for the elected that I oppose, I know they're stressed out and I don't want them to be. And I always believe that, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. I mean, I want a different school board, but we have what we have, so we have to support them. And I'm trying to be as kind as I can to them and just be supportive. They're making the best decision they can with the information they have.
Right.
And
I think it all started with the LA Unified insisting on, so anyway, honestly, our kids are not the group that are at risk. We really shouldn't be worried about it.
But also from what my live-in nurse tells me is, kids can transmit the virus. So having them spread it between each other, then bring it home to an elderly parent, then that parent, could pass, could get the virus and they're not at risk. So it's not really that, it is the concentration. It also is, it is safety precaution. Then best case scenario, a month from now, we look back and say we overreacted. Everything's fine. It's going to be okay. Worst case, it can get really bad.
Right.
I have, anecdotal rumors from my business partners in China saying some really awful things that will really scare people. So I'm not going to go there. Again, those are rumors. Don't panic. In the United States, we are in a much safer environment in many different respects, including that we're not packed on public transportation. We're in our own individual vehicles or individual homes. We all have individual front doors where we can come and go without even contacting anybody versus a place like in China or in Europe, especially Europe. And I've lived there where you have 100 families, 200 people sharing one door. In Germany, that's how it is. They have high rises and their suburbs look like a bunch of apartments stacked, but those are their homes. And I lived in one of those. You'll have a nice 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom house, really nice place, but you're stacked like on the 8th floor and there's 1,000 people living in your building. And so that's how they live. And then they're all on the same train together, communal, and that's how it spreads. So even the worst case scenario, we're going to be much better off, in my layman's opinion, based on my observations, than other countries, say like Germany or Italy. They're all packed tight and we are not. That's just obvious and common sense. And sorry to keep talking. You're the guest. You should be talking.
That's right. Well, and I think we have to keep in mind too that our numbers are a bit skewed in the United States because the first outbreak, if you will, was in Seattle and at a nursing home. And my best friend actually lives in Seattle and he works for a hospital company. So it got concentrated because, of course, all those people are older. So it's kind of skewed our data to say, okay, if you're older, that means that you're going to get it. That's not necessarily true. We have our numbers skewed here just because of where it kind of started.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little worried. My stepfather's close to 80. I mean, he lives in Hawaii. But he also lives in a community. He lives in the suburbs in Hawaii. So I think it's very possible that he's going to be okay. He is up there in years, so who knows how much longer he had anyway, but he's still doing okay. However, the risk definitely is from, we have 3 houses on a half-acre or acre property or something, and we have a bunch of kids, and they're going to be going to school and getting it and bringing it home. So that definitely is a risk for him. And I think that's very common for a lot of families that live like that. So I don't know how it's going to go. It's really...
Well, and I think also everyone should just focus on, staying healthy, building your immune system. I mean, all the things that, people that we probably should be doing, but we're also busy. We don't always do them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my wife has been preparing us for 6 weeks now. She's been really saying this is going to be bad. And she, she works at a hospital every day. And like I said, I almost feel guilty how prepared we are. We're going to be just fine. I know my home. So I just worry about my friends that I see stressing out. And that's why I decided to throw the camera on us this late at night, which is usually I don't do this ever.
Well, I don't. People should research like homemade remedies. So I mean, like natural things. Like there's a lot of things that are maybe have we've forgotten about. Like I got the flu a couple years ago. There's a method to my story here, and I was like throwing up. I couldn't keep anything down. I went to the urgent care and they gave me this medicine and it made me throw up even more. So I hadn't eaten or drank for like 4 days, and I really never get sick like that. And I called them and they go, come in, we'll give you a shot. And I was like, at this rate, you people are just going to put me in the hospital. So I decided to go online and Google like how to stop vomiting. All sounds gross, but it was basically all the stuff my mom told me when I was a kid, like saltine crackers and chicken broth and jello. So I seriously did that instead of what they told me in urgent care, and I started getting better. And I thought, you know what, I just learned something here, because we all have those things in our past, the home remedies and things like that. And sometimes we forget about those things, but a lot of times they're passed on with wisdom because they work.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I just looked at my social media, and one of our moms that we know very well just posted her son is really sick all day with a fever. It's really horrible. So you have to stay strong. I mean, we're going to be, that just affected me. I just looked at that. So I really hope that that little one's going to be okay. And wow, this is really stressful. That affected me. That really sucks. So I can only imagine, and how the mom feels. And she's a single mom as well. So I don't want to say her name but she did post it on social media. She's a single mom and with an IEP with a special needs kid. So and works full time. So I really heart goes out to her. What is she going to do Monday? I mean, I'm lucky. I've got all the time in the world given my where I'm at in my life. So prayers for her.
Well,
Sucks.
I heard there was a press conference today with Trump, and whether people like Trump or not, apparently there's a website that Google helped develop that they're going to roll out very quickly that helps people diagnose their basically track their symptoms. And then they're going to have actually drive-through testing centers.
Okay.
Like right now, the only testing center has been in San Juan Capistrano, but they're going to have drive-through testing centers where if it seems like you should get tested, you can go there. So pretty quickly, there's going to be the ability to separate out, is it a cold or the regular flu, or is it something else?
Yeah, one thing I couldn't believe that I saw today on social media was Congressman Gil Cisneros actually posted something nice about the president. He's a Democrat. So thought that was interesting that he actually posted something not horrible about the president from a Democrat. And I was, well, good. I actually posted something nice. So thank you for finally putting your partisan nonsense behind and just focusing on the American people. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, honestly, it's very interesting because different people have different ideas that this might all be political, but I'm like, I really don't think so, because it started in China.
There will be opportunists, 100%. There will be opportunists that try to spin it politically. I've already offered up my studio services to my political rivals just as a proof of point. That as much as I am a critic, we're gonna come together and we could sort out the political stuff after. So I just wanted to reach out to them and support them. I know I've been in that situation. I hate to just talk about the Army all the time, but it's just I've dealt with so many crises like this as a planner, as an officer. Sometimes there's no right decision. It's just the one that's less bad. I mean, it just sucks no matter what. I mean, just imagine all those commanders that fought all those battles that they were ordered to take out Nazis or whatever it was, and they 100% knew they're going to lose people in that battle that day, and constantly being barraged with that stuff. And now my service was nowhere near as bad as that, but there were crazy times, and you just sat there, and then and I feel for maybe these board members or these electeds that they've never experienced this. This is the first stress or anxiety they've had to make that decision for a lot of other people, and there's just no right decision. So I just hope they're going to have to find the strength to do the right thing. I think they did. Some people are going to criticize the school district for not doing it sooner. Some people don't want it done. there again, there's no right answer. It's just the less bad one. And they did
Right.
it. It's over. We're going to move on till tomorrow. I'm gonna support their decision that they made today. As I already pulled my kid out 2 days ago. Wednesday, my wife and I made the decision: no more school for our son until we reassess. And then 2 days later, the school district did the same thing. So that's that. And then one thing I was worried about, Pam, you might find interesting, is that some of the parents in Irvine were more afraid of getting an unexcused absence letter from the school than they were of a deadly virus. I was like, so what? I started tagging the school board members. I'm like, okay, I really don't directly do that usually with the school board members. Like, hey, can you say something to this father that was texting me today? And his name was John, or he was commenting. Like, can you comment on something, make him feel better? He's worried about an unexcused absence letter when international travel has been shut down. Thousands of people are dying. That's what I'm worried about. These parents don't know their rights. They're scared of the government. We had some people, I had in the extreme example, I had neighbors that were recent immigrants from China, and they were deathly afraid of the school district, like to the point where they thought the school district was going to kill them. And of course, to us, that's silly, but to them where they live they're just terrified. So that a lot is that concern. But within an hour of me actually commenting on that, I actually texted one of the school board members, said, hey, do you want to come on live and talk about it? And she said she can't. She's in a meeting. Within the hour, the email was sent, maybe 30 minutes after that. And they closed all the schools. So they had to, make the decision they had. No matter what, they're going to get criticism of it. And actually, this is the one thing I'm probably not going to criticize the school board for. There was a decision. They made it. The only bad decision was one they didn't make, I think. But they did something, and that's good. So.
Right. Well, and that is very interesting because I think, you and I have discussed a lot that our educational system needs a big old overhaul. And one of the things that we've done, unfortunately, is we've made it all about the money. So when kids aren't there, then the district gets dinged and they don't get paid. And so then we do stupid things like send parents SARB things, and you're going to get in trouble because your kid's, sick. When we've taken away the ability for parents to make sure that they're doing what's right for their child, and that's really not okay. So,
well, I'm going to address when I get elected this year. I'm going to address the whole educating parents not knowing their rights. People are looking towards the school district to make decisions for them. They should not. The school district should be enabling the parents, not making decisions for them. There's no way 5 people or 10 people can make a decision for 36,000 individual children with specialized needs. That's an impossible task to ask of them.
Right. And, there's always a lot of options that can be implemented. And sometimes it gets kind of tricky because you can do things like independent study, but then sometimes the teachers union will refuse that because they want more notice. But those kind of things have to be negotiated because what should be done at the end of the day is what's right for the kids. That's the whole purpose of school. So if we're not doing that, then we've kind of fallen down on the job.
Well, the teachers are still going to be paid. They're still going to be working, and they're just going to be, the whole school district of 36,000 kids is going to be to homeschool for the temporary time period. So, that's what's going to happen now, considering the distance learning thing.
I know some of the districts are doing that. I don't know why my she's in the Saddleback district.
One thing I learned when I was working on a general staff as a lieutenant is not making a decision is a decision. We had this one commanding general, which I will not mention the name. This person would never make a decision, even a crisis mode, the most basic mode, and everything ground to a halt. I'll say she was just terrified to make a decision, and that's when I heard all these colonels and the staff they were so fed up, and they're like, should never make a decision. So all the staff and these hundreds of staff had to cater to this one person that was incapable of making quick decisions, and it wasn't I think incompetence. It was the over thoroughness, micromanaging, and I don't know what the issue was. And I was a front seat to it all as a lieutenant of the failure to make a decision. So it sounds like kind of like your school district for your kids is just kind of doing the same thing. They're freezing when they should be making a decision either way. So
right. I think they weren't prepared for the whole
nobody was
learning discussion. Um, so what they said is that they're going to have a meeting next week. They'll evaluate it, then they'll decide at what point they'll put the kids on distance learning. So my daughter's like, "Yay, I get a vacation."
Yeah. My son thought it was going to be a vacation until he realized, and then one of his friends called him and they're doing like a web chat playing video games. And they're like, no, buddy, there's still homework. We still got to do schoolwork. And he's like, oh, that sucks. And I said, well, the good news is we can go to your friend's house and, you can do homework with him or you can hang out. So they still got to do schoolwork. They're still going to be doing their assignments and their educational services. So, but hats off to the Irvine School District who made a decision today. So decision was made. They went with it. We're going to react. I'm going to support them in that. End of story. Now, I'm still a critic of other things, but for that today, what they did, they made a decision for the safety of our kids, and I'm going to support them in that. I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling on, and it's almost 1 a.m. now. And believe it or not, we have a bunch of people watching us still.
That's funny.
So.
Well, you guys, I don't know if you just met earlier. Then, I mean, LA, like I said, LA started it, and I thought to myself, if the teachers, it's the teachers union, not the teachers. If they get their way, then all the other schools are going to start following. It's going to be interesting because I'm actually supposed to be in court on Monday. And so far, the Ventura court is closed. The LA court is closed. The San Diego court's closed. But I haven't heard any word about Orange County yet. So we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of controversy today. The OC Register reported that the county superintendent recommended to close the school. So I shared that. And then a board, I can say it because he commented publicly. One of the board members' spouses said, yeah, and then he did it without the permission of the county board of education. So that was interesting that happened. So there is, I'm sure, turmoil, and when there's stressful environments, people are going to argue. I don't know who the superintendent is. I don't personally know him or her, or I know a couple county board members, but I'm not involved in them as intimately as I am in Irvine. So I don't know the social dynamics between them or why that happened, but in times of crisis, people fight, and it's just kind of used to it, and I'm numb to it because we just I dealt with that for 20 years. I mean, I went to war with people I did not like at all, and I had to fight alongside of them. Some people, I will put out that I like the school board members better than the people I went and fought alongside of and had to trust in my life. So, it is what it is. We have to go to war with the army we have, and issues happen. So.
Well, I think that it's very interesting because everyone, it's always easy to be an armchair quarterback, but sometimes we just have to say, okay. I mean, honestly, I don't know, time will tell, but you really can never tell because we're not going to be able to know the difference between if we send kids to school or not because we're not doing it. So.
Yeah, it looks easy until you're actually in charge. So that's why, I don't criticize too harsh in decisions. But there's some basic things I'll criticize, like lack of communication or misconduct or criminal activity. Of course, I'm going to bust them out for that. But when I was a 17-year-old soldier, like literally I was 17, and I'd look up at these captains and majors and like I want to do that someday. I want to be the guy in charge, be the commanding officer. And then 15, 18 years later, is not as easy as you think when you're looking up to these people. You're like, okay, why don't they just do this? It's so simple. And when you're leading hundreds or thousands of people, it's not as simple when you're in that hot seat and you're the one having to make the decision and you're held accountable. So it is very difficult, but it can be learned. It can be taught. You can overcome that. But a lot of people do freeze, unfortunately, until they get a lot of experience with that constant stress. And then you just get used to it. And it's like any job. Imagine, I always think of like a heart surgeon. I imagine the first time he had to cut someone open and do like heart surgery. It must have been extremely difficult. But after, a few years doing it, they're probably just stay in the office, right? No. So
but I think you said something that's really important, that, what we have unfortunately kind of conditioned people to follow the rules, and that has pros and cons because if people are sitting around waiting for somebody to tell them what to do, they might not be sitting and deciding what's best for them and what's best for their child. And, nobody can decide for you what's best for you or what's best for your child. I mean, I happen to have an immunocompromised child, so I'm going to be more concerned about my child because I know that he's going to be more at risk than my daughter.
I agree. Yeah, That's what I feel for other families. We're very blessed. My health has been one of my strengths of my lifetime, and so I'm very lucky with that for my family. But my heart goes out to others. I have to deal with that. But I'm gonna go show them your website too. I want people to learn about you and what you do for the community. And you're one of our hidden warriors in the school system. Now, your link for the Shift Autism and ADHD unfortunately failed to open.
Oh,
Yeah, so
I think I got to get that fixed. I need to get my technical support person back.
okay, it's okay. Well, I've already kept you on the phone.
There's a site called shiftautism.com is where that should be going. But anyway, I figure
That's okay.
I moved it over to a different site, and I think that the person that moved it didn't.
We
finish
still have
everything.
people commenting and watching. It's 1 a.m. So Anthony Ramirez says, "Hey, buddy." So hey, Anthony. I'm not sure if you can see if you're watching on your laptop or you can see what it is, but I've got graphics on the screen. When people comment, I can put the comment on the screen, so they know that their comment is being listened to, and we can engage with our audience. And
That's cool.
a lot of people need to understand this is going to be the future for the near future. This is going to be one of the ways that we're going to have to communicate is through this technology. And I know our local congresswoman in the 45th is probably not happy that I'm proven extremely right about now with this. That we should be doing live stream question and answer town halls for the politicians, as a lot of people want information right now, and I have offered my services up, but I haven't heard anything from them, so we'll see. But
It's funny because people have to come, people aren't always familiar with technology and things like that. And I'll tell you like a little side note, but it's kind of related. So I'm on this board for horses because I have a horse. And I'm like, why don't we have a Facebook group? Like we have a page, but nobody can post to it. So I set the group up and everyone's like, now, like, what's a group? Like, how do I post to it? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was teaching a
I
Facebook lesson today.
recently was a leader of a group. I'm not going to say what, but a prominent leader of a group was wanting me to do a technical consult and set up their live stream equipment. It wasn't going to be for my channel. I was just going to help them set the equipment up, run the show, train their people. And one of the executive committee, like the top people, like they killed the whole thing. This was before the coronavirus. It was like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. Yeah, within the last 2 to 4 weeks. And I just know the people. So I'm like, okay, so basically, and they wanted to live stream the events and what they're doing. And they said, no, we shouldn't do it because like people live stream that thing anyway. And I'll tell you off camera what it is, what event, but people do anyway, because it's a public event. You can't stop it. And then I just know that it's either some really insecure old people, I hate to say it, but that don't understand technology, they're scared of it, or maybe some really, really old person that's so insecure about their physical appearance, they don't want to be on camera, but they're willing to destroy the whole, or they're willing to compromise or, miss out on this opportunity to get ahead of the curve for their organization when their head of the organization already was working with me to get this done. And it was a volunteer thing I was doing, so it wasn't like I was losing money on it, but I just wanted to help my friends out. So it's kind of interesting that some people are so resistant to technology or afraid of it, or maybe have a phobia. I've met some people that I'm not going to mention have phobias of this technology as well, that they're for the question and answer thing. And it's rather interesting because some of these people that I meet that have phobias of this live stream camera stuff can give a speech to 1,000 people and nail it, and they're just awesome on stage, and they put them on this, they're like, nope, not doing it. So.
Well, I think that there's a difference between people that can just talk ad hoc and people that have to have a prepared speech. And honestly, you're talking about politicians or whatever, whoever it is, but I think that people are smart and that, they know when you're just communicating with them and when you're just like reading something off or it's prepared. And I think like today's like people, they want genuine.
Yeah, a lot of the politicians, they've practiced, they're trained, and it's an older group, and they're very classically trained. They're very classically trained, and I've met some that are, they are amazing on a stage. I'm like, they just give a microphone, put them on stage, hey, do this intro, do this stuff, and they just nail it. It's not they really do connect, but they will crumble in this environment. So it's interesting, and it's just very strange. I mean, I've had thousands of people watch me here, and it's just like I'm kind of just hanging out having coffee. Anthony Ramirez says, on point, pal. So thank you for the comment, Anthony Ramirez. I really appreciate that. And Anthony Ramirez, he actually works in the industry as well. I just keep circling back that, I've been trying to push these live stream town halls as a way to very conveniently interact with your constituents. And I've met hard resistance from some, and I've met some that just embraced it full blast, like Greg Raths, who just won the congressional primary. And he surprised a lot of people. I already knew, I kind of knew that he was going to win, but some of them are just such resistance points. And now with this pandemic, it makes sense to use this technology. And still, the hardcore supporters of our Congresswoman, they are attacking me for suggesting that we use this technology in this format to interact with constituents, to give them information. But they're not doing it. So I'm just wondering how it's all gonna pan out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, like I said, my client and I were just today we were talking about, this is an opportunity for people to learn how technology can help them and have a little bit of freedom. Because if you're working at home, you can go throw in laundry while you're working, or you can do other things. You have some flexibility, and so it's a little bit different than just going into an office every day or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. You'll be, I'm not sure if you watch this, but watch some of it. I'm watching our transition. It looks like I'm a real newscaster with, I'll have your photo up and all the technology. So
That's
awesome.
cool.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep, I've had you on for over half an hour, but we've got people on. I'll chat a little longer with you guys before I cut it off. So appreciate you joining us, Pam. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay. We have one last comment and someone just commented, people resist evolving and adapting new ways to communicate. Anyway, let's let Pam go. Take care, Pam. Appreciate you joining us. So I won't keep you live anymore.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Okay,
Have a
take
good
care.
night.
Bye. So thank Pam. Appreciate it. Now it's just me and you guys just chatting. And it's been an hour and I just drank a bunch of water, but I'll soldier through it and hang out with you guys. So it's going to be interesting with our new normal, which is going to be using technology, social distancing, and this is unprecedented. This is a 9/11 level as far as attention event. Where we've all come together, and I can't believe it. Gil Cisneros, I don't know the guy, but I watch the social media, and his is not as abrasive as some people. And I just commented, he is a veteran in the Navy, and I was a veteran in the Army. I'm very sure that he had to work for people he absolutely hated in the military. It's just life. You deal with it. So that's commented, hey, I don't care if you don't like Trump. Just, who knows what I think, but let's work together. And I couldn't believe it when he posted something positive about the president, a Democrat congressman. In this climate, it brought us together. So it's this 9/11, again, as far as the precedent, this much attention, Pearl Harbor, 9/11, that everyone is focused on this. Everyone's talking about it everywhere you go. This is this is the new normal. It's really going to be interesting. It's all going to turn out. So I just hope everyone stays safe, and I hope my videos and I hope my being open about what I'm doing for the community helps to other people to not stress out so much. I feel very privileged and very lucky that my life is extremely healthy. Got to live in nurse. I mean, I mean it's extremely lucky, and I'm able to take there for my son. So if I can connect you to somebody or somebody I can, if you need anything, just send me a message. I'll be available. And if you may have a question, need to talk to some of our elected leaders that I know, sure, I'll just, connect you over or any services that I happen to be familiar with. So anyway, still got 3 people, and I'm running out of things to talk about because I used to usually use a script. And actually looking back to 2015 to 2016, I used to do this for hours, and then I used to started off with real estate education. So I used to do a lot of live streaming with real estate education as I was still in the military and getting ready for retirement. So I thought I was going to get a real estate right for a short period of time. I did a ton of live streaming, and I would get into getting real estate deals all across the country because I used a Twitter-based platform, which gave me a global audience. So I'd get random deals in Kentucky or Virginia or Maine once, I think, and it was listing for real estate deals that I was trying to close. But Donna commented, I'm just not even reading, I'm just going to throw up a comment and read it. People had the technology to work from home for years that would have saved in gas, reduced gas prices, changed things for many moons. This is now very interesting to see where it takes us. I 100% agree, Donna. I've, was commenting many times on Katie Porter's Facebook page that if you're an environmentalist, you're concerned about climate change, green, all that stuff, global warming, then you should totally embrace the technology where everyone can sit at home and do a town hall. But yet she would want to do her very highly scripted, it was so obviously scripted, town halls where she'd bring hundreds of people to one place, which is obviously now dangerous with the virus. And it's very inconvenient, causing people to drive an hour, sit around for an hour and a half, 2 hours to wait for her to make her entrance, do her speech, and they just want their questions answered. They don't want to hear a speech. They don't want to drive for 2 hours and sit there, contribute to traffic, burn up gas. Maybe they're disabled or you have to work. This is so convenient to do town halls. And again, people don't want to hear political speech. They want to hear their elected rep telling them what's going on, especially in times like this. So I really hope our electeds embrace this. I know Greg Raths has. He is totally comfortable doing this. He'll take questions. Like, there's been questions come across my screen when I was interviewing Colonel Greg Raths, former mayor of Mission Viejo, congressional candidate, nominee, just won the primary. There's questions that come across my screen. I honestly didn't want to ask them. I wasn't going to put them up. Like, when I click the button and it pops up, right? And I see them and I have the chance to screen them. And Greg Raths is so fearless. He'll be like, no, let's do it. Let's answer the question. I'm just like, okay, let's answer it. And that just shows the transparency and willingness. And then you get some politicians that are, again, will crumble. They don't want to do it. And at this point, it's kind of obvious if you're afraid of the camera, and if you do have some phobia of it, just face it. That's courage. The definition of courage is, even if you're afraid to do something, you do it anyway, but because it's the right thing to do. I find it interesting the fear people would have of public speaking in this format, because this is such a relaxing format to sit here, it's really just me just kind of talking from my camera, so there's nothing scary about it. But if you are, you may be afraid of it, I'd hate to say, maybe I can help some politicians get over this. At this point, I've at least done 10,000 hours of this. I mean, I used to do this a lot. Back in 2016, they actually, and this is a funny story, I'll explain it to you how I overcame this and how I even did more hours and why. So back in 2016, I was doing live streams, doing like a good video every 3 or 4 days. I was really kicking butt at the campaign. I know my my poll numbers were through the roof. So they did some hits on me, took some highly edited videos out of context and spread them around the city. What am I supposed to do with that? You can't take those back. They were so just lies, right? There were some of my acting reels. Like, okay, so my response was to do 3 to 4 videos a day. And I just did hours and hours and hours. So at least I know that those other political campaigns that were attacking me and smearing me had to use up a lot of time to watch all my videos. And I was able to, share my ideas and reach out to other people. And those other campaigns I said to watch. And now I got thousands of hours. So those stupid videos, if you can even find them, they're totally out of context, my acting videos, and it's obviously fabrications and BS. Everyone can see like 50,000 other videos and like, okay, whatever. So now they diminish the impact. So I just thought that'd be interesting. And that's kind of how I ended up with, at least 10,000. That's a conservative estimate. I did delete a lot of videos on accident when I unintentionally let an account get deactivated with thousands of followers, unfortunately, on my Periscope channel. So that's toast. That was when back when I was doing more acting. I was doing stand-up comedy to try to improve my public speaking. It's the strangest thing when I would do stand-up comedy classes and perform. It was just really interesting and a good time when I was doing those comedy classes, and you have to write your jokes and try to perform them to your classmates. And a lot of people, maybe they were at public speaking and think people are going to laugh at them. Well, the whole point of getting a group of people was to laugh at you, and you have to get up on the stage and get some reaction out of them. That was interesting. It was more of a hobby, wasn't my thing. Didn't want to do it like as a job. Some of my friends did, but that was pretty cool. So anyway, I can't believe people are still watching me. Anyway, guys, you guys are supposed to ask me questions. That's kind of how the live stream things goes. I'm supposed to do something. It'll keep you interacting, something engaging. It's interesting. My son watches live streams of video games, the video gamers playing a video game, and those things will have like 50,000 people watching a kid playing a video game. My daughter did a makeup tutorial, I think like 20, 30,000 views or something, like an incredible short amount of time. Put on makeup. It was really interesting to watch that. I'll do these political videos. I'll have these leaders on, doctors, scientists, whatever. And it's like 100, 500, maybe 1,000 people watch. So it's really fascinating. Donna says, I remember when someone took your laptop. That sucked so bad because I just didn't get elected in 2016. I almost won. And right after the election in 2016, someone had stole it, that new laptop. And they had all my campaign photos on it, so much materials, spreadsheets. That hurt. That sucked. And I never got the laptop back. And it was like $1,500 brand new. It was horrible. So, well, it's life. So someone says they have a question, so feel free to ask. I really enjoy you guys actually interacting with me and keep me company up this late. So go ahead and ask your question, please, while I plug in my computer because I just realized it's unplugged. Okay, we're charging now. So go ahead. So Tom says, do you think if you ask your workplace if you can work from home for your own safety, they should approve? I think probably about 90% of employers are right now. So I'd say probably so. I would agree that's a fair statement, Tom. So appreciate you asking that. Donna says, play a video game while you're talking to us or put on makeup. You will get 50,000 viewers. Well, I know you can be a spectacle. And again, I have, I'm just thinking of all the things that I could do to get thousands and thousands of people watch me. And that's not my intention. My intention is not to get attention. My intention is not to just get attention for just the sake of it. I have a specific intent. That is to help my kid at school. Really, I've had people approach me. They want me to do like higher office, and I've had school board member like that has to run against me. They're like, just run for something else, and we'll support you. They're not really. They seem supportive. They're not really going to support me, but I'm like, no. I know I can run for city council. I know I've got rich donors. I got all this. I can run for state assembly. I don't want to. I want to just to be a dad and take care of my son. That's it. That's my motivation. I'm not looking for money or fame or anything. Matter of fact, I'm actually a very quiet person to myself. But I think I know what needs to get done. I know how to take charge. They used to tell us in the military, this is the mantra I heard, and I've kind of internalized over the years. And it's in the absence of leadership, provide leadership. If there's no one willing to lead effectively, just do it yourself. And that's why I rose from a little 17-year-old kid in the Army with no rank to commanding my own unit. And those were hard years, but I did what was necessary. But a lot of those years were actually fun too. It was some good times. I'd say there's more happy days than not. But I was a nobody. I was a poor kid with no food, and literally closing my back and joined the military, and then ended up advising commanding generals affecting thousands and thousands of people. Serious stuff like this. So this is not stressful actually for me. So, but I don't feel there's adequate leadership at the schools, so that's why I'm stepping up. I am supporting them in their decision they had to make today. They had to make it, so I'm going to support them. I'm going to speak publicly probably Tuesday at their board meeting to support them. They're not going to see it come. They're like, wow, you actually supporting us. I'm like, yeah, because I have to. It's for the good of the people. It's good for my kid and his friends. Later on, we can address the issues of lack of communication, these little things that we can improve upon. But for now, they're in charge, so we got to come together. As far as the city goes, I did run for city council in 2018. But as of now, I am very highly approve of our city. I'm on the mayor's advisory committee. She's like, oh, you want to be involved? Well, here, sit on this committee and advise me what you think we should do. And I was like, wow, what an amazing leader. Mayor of Irvine, she is awesome. Totally on the record. She's awesome. To be able to have the foresight to see someone that wants to be involved, to see someone who has leadership experience and put them in charge and say, well, fine, you want to be part of it? Be a part of my team. Her and Don Wagner both did that, gave me an opportunity, and my life has never been the same. It's been great. And they're both amazing leaders that always help me out. So Donna says, I salute you. I did not know that. Thank you for your service. No problem. Thank you for my service. Thank you for paying for it. It was the experience of a lifetime. Changed me completely and totally for 20 years of service. And I look back on it and fondly, and I miss it. And I've thought many, many times about going back in. But I missed so many years with my daughter. She's almost 17 now. So many years gone. You know, and it seems like she grew up really fast. Like I was like, what happened? Where my son, I'm with him every day for years and years. So it really seems to me like he's grown up so much slower. And I could not live with myself if I took off in the Army again and got deployed again and went overseas. However, though comforting being in the military, being in that environment is so simple for me, and it's comforting because I go into a command again, or I'll be a captain again. Instantly, you know, I'll know what I'm doing. You know, I've only been gone a couple of years, but things don't change that fast in the Army as far as the basics. And I could easily, you know, be selected to take over a unit again. And it would actually be, I really would like it. But it's not about me anymore. I'm getting older, 41. It's time to take care of kids. And I've only got 8 years left till my son's 18. You know, if 8 years goes by, maybe we'll reassess then. But by then, we'll be, 49? I can still go back in the military then, but who knows if I even want to. It's all about my little one. And that's my motivation. End of story. So that's that. And some people are trying to entice me, and they think I'm like them. I always think like these politicians, they always try to, you know, people always try to find your motivation, right? And if what's your real motivation? You want money, or you just want power, or you just want to be elected for the sake of being elected. And some people are like that. Some people do it for selfish reasons. So when I did tell people I want to do school board again, I think some people were like, what, really? You want to go higher? And I'm like, no, this is really just for my kids. That's it. Just that. So anyway, Tom Tamayo says, what kind of martial arts did they teach you in the military? Nothing. They showed you the most basic hand-to-hand, like 2 days of classes. That's it. Because we don't fight using martial arts. We fight with weaponry. We fight with rifles. We fight with organizational skills, coordinated assaults. We're never going to fight one-on-one. You're going to fight with 30 other people. You know, I was an infantry guy, so, you know, you were taught that you attack of your enemy. You know, you got people forward here, you got people spraying bullets here, and you're going to be, you know, jumping over each other kind of thing. So you don't really need martial arts, honestly. You need some basic skills with the new battlefield that developed after 9/11, which you do more house-to-house fighting. So you can imagine, and I used to teach my soldiers when I was squad leader how to do some basic hand-to-hand, make some basic, you know, hurt them to get some space so you can pull up your rifle and do what you got to do. So that's what I would teach, the basic hand-to-hand. My guys, I did do martial arts on my own. I did fight MMA. That was all my off time. And I would bring that to work, and my guys kind of liked it. But I imagine the scenarios that they would have to go through on deployment, and if they were going through a house and they came up on somebody and they couldn't get the rifle up, what would they do, right? Or if they were just searching a house, and say they're searching the wrong house, and say they went in the wrong house, some guy's in his bedroom, and he might actually be a supporter of the U.S. forces, and he's in his underwear, he's in bed, and you go in the wrong house, and you're searching as a soldier, you can't, and you don't want to hurt them. What are they going to do? I mean, you have to get this guy off of you. So I go through these scenarios, and I would train our soldiers how to deal with that, because you don't want to use lethal force when it's not needed, especially if someone you just might be in the accidentally wrong house in your job as a soldier, and you know, obviously want to, you know, use appropriate force, and, you know, might actually go to one of our allies' homes. You don't want that. So we would teach the most basic stuff to my guys. I did as a sergeant. The military as a whole, they started combatives, this like combatives program, but I never attended it. I'd always thought it's funny because, you know, at work we would fight amongst ourselves sometimes, like wrestling guys, you know, a bunch of, you know, guys in their 20s, and we would wrestle for fun if we were bored. And as a squad leader, I kind of encouraged that, my guys to blow off steam. They would just wrestle each other, wouldn't hurt each other too bad. But we'd have these combatives guys, like I'm combatives level 4. And I'm like, I just laugh at them, like, okay, let's go a couple rounds. And anyone that did a month, maybe 3 months of martial arts, like professional trained with professional fighters, would mop the floor with these guys that said, you know, I went to combatives level 3 or 4 in the Army. And sometimes some of those guys were good, but basically they just get beaten the hell out of by someone that actually had some training. And I'd say you would meet some guys like that a lot in the Army. Out of a platoon, you might have one or two guys that would train intently in their off time. So they were really actually like professional level fighters, and they're also in the military. As it isn't that hard to train your body to get there. It just takes a little bit of discipline and time. And I think the average person within 90 days could get to that level. So I like that question. That brought back a lot of good memories, Tom Tamayo. And so we're going to put that up there. So they, as far as the Army, didn't teach me much. All of my martial arts training was civilian acquired. I used to fight at the 808 Fight Factory in Waipahu, Hawaii. I competed when I was stationed in Hawaii in mixed martial arts. I did, in 2007 was my last full fight, the little baby gloves, those little tiny ones with the, basically bare knuckle brawl. And I did that one fight. I won. And that was the last real MMA cage fight that I did. And after that, I went to school, got an education, got my degree, became a military officer, because at that time I was a sergeant, and I didn't become a lieutenant until 2009. But that was some good memories. I always enjoyed doing that. There's another memory. June 2014, I was a company commander. We were out in the field. I was with my guys, and one of my soldiers, he was really in MMA. I forget his name, tall, big guy. And he'd always be, there's two guys that always put the gloves on, MMA gear, and they'd be fighting each other and they punching each other. And I was a commanding officer of the 740th CSC. And I would, this is a good story. You like this. And I'm the commanding officer. I was the captain. They had I outranked everyone in the unit, 138 soldiers. And, you had to watch yourself, kind of like a politician. You're a leader. You have to watch how you act. You can't cuss. You have to be a gentleman. And you really set the tone for these youngsters from 18 years old to, my advisors, my senior list advisors, which outranked, but they were older than me. I had a warrant officer, chief. He actually had 30 years in the Army at the time. And then, of course, my first sergeant. All good guys. I missed those times. Anyway, the one time I kind of let loose. I was like, all right. Hey, give me your gloves. And everyone, and then I just want to kind of throw some punches, but I'm the commanding officer. Oh my God, it's the commander. The commander's fighting so and so, and he's like a young soldier. So I look up, and we're just kind of messing around, punching each other. And I look up, there's the whole unit is watching me. I'm like, oh man. And I think at this time, this soldier probably could have whooped my butt. I mean, he was in active training, pro fighter at the amateur pro fighter at that level, and thankfully he didn't beat me up. But he was just really shocked at this commanding officer would put the gloves on with him and say, go ahead, punch me. And I'm not a small guy. I'm about 5'11", 6 foot, 230, pretty built like a linebacker. So I gave him a run for his money, but that was just really a fun day. But you got to kind of watch yourself when you're a commander. You can't, you can't go drinking with your soldiers, things like that. You can't be partying with them. You can only hang out with people of your equal rank. It's very strict. And my commander at the time, Colonel Austin, I think he would not even have a problem. He was this good old infantry guy, and what good times, man. I really miss those times. And times like that with the soldiers, it really makes me miss the Army. I really do. But life is different now. I'm a father. I got to take care of my kid. That's it. And that's really my motivation. I gave that life up. I admit I did go to the recruiter's office the other day. I met with the recruiters. They're like, yeah, you can still go back in reserve or something. Wow. And definitely has a lot of appeal. And 100%, if the Army called me, I'd go, definitely, without a doubt. Send me, I would. I know my family would understand if there was another war I had to go. They would. But I don't think the community would understand. I don't think my friends in Irvine that I've made over the last 5 years would like that very much. Anyway, guys, I'm kind of rambling on here. If you guys want to ask me more questions, feel free. Tom Tamayo, really appreciate that question about the martial arts. That just brought back a lot of good memories. And thank you for getting me to talk about that in camera. I'm going to leave this up. I almost didn't do this live stream before Pam went and pick up her phone. I was thinking just cut the feed, but I miss these days. Sorry, but thank you for having me talk about that. And now I've recorded it, so now maybe my kids can watch this one day and they can kind of understand the decisions I made when they were kids to stick around. And a lot of people tell me a lot of good things, like, thank you for what you're doing. You're all this, you're such a good dad and everything. And honestly, I'm just, only thing I know for certain, the only thing I 100% know of being a parent, you can take this to the bank, quote me on this. You have to be there. That's the only thing I know for sure about being a parent. And that's it. Just be there. That's it. Everything else, we got to figure it out, right? Never going to tell you how to be a parent. Just be there. That I know is right. So Sergio Hernandez says, "What's up, Mark?" Hello, Sergio. Speaking of physical fitness and mixed martial arts, Sergio Hernandez is a brother of a good friend of mine, and he is a life coach and also does. I'm not sure does martial arts, but he definitely is a fitness coach, and he is like. I met him a while back, and he's got like 6-pack of muscles, and the guy's super physically fit. So if you need anything with that, need coaching with bodybuilding, contact Sergio Hernandez. He will take care of you. So Donna is asking me, what do you honestly think about large companies outsourcing to other countries? Basically, people will be working for these same companies from home here in the U.S. during this time. I was a supervisor for a large hospital. We outsourced to India and Philippines and let go a great number of employees. So that is a very difficult question. That is outside of my expertise, as I'm not an expert in international business, but I will try my best to answer this question. What do I think about outsourcing? Well, we want jobs in America, and I think a lot of companies would probably rather do business here. Let me open, closed on me. I think as a business owner, I'd rather do business in the States. I'd rather have all my people here. I'd rather employ Americans, but I think that is, this happens because of bad policies, huge tax burdens, all these issues you put on companies, the compliance costs. I could tell you my first foray into business, I've had a few businesses. First, I had a vending machine company. I was in the Army. I had a contract to have candy vending machines all over Pearl Harbor when I was stationed in Hawaii. Made a little extra on the side. On the weekends, I'd go service candy machines. I ended up selling the business because I wanted to focus full-time in the Army. And then another business I was going to do, and I was all set up before I moved to California because I had the loans. I had everything set up, all the equipment to do a food business. I was going to sell hot dogs and near the touristy areas. I had all done the math. You could make hundreds of thousands of dollars reheat, not even cooking, just reheating hot dogs and selling it downtown Honolulu where all the business people are, or on the beach where all the surfers, and you just hang out on the beach, make hundreds of thousands of dollars selling hot dogs like 6 hours a day. So, but ended up not doing that job or opened that company, ended up moving to California. I looked at doing the same business here because it's a owner-operator business. It's very simple. First off, it was going to take me $5,000 to $7,000 to start that business in Hawaii. And the business licenses was really easy, health code, simple inspection, basic stuff, made sense. It also made sense to me because I used to, as a logistics commander, I had a cook section. I had like 20 or 30 cooks in my unit. And so I had an understanding of sanitation, hygiene in restaurants because I was kind of like a restaurant owner. I had a guy that ran the restaurant, the military restaurant, the chow hall. But I was kind of like the owner because I had to brief it to the battalion commander and whatnot. But then California, it would take $50,000 to $60,000, and the regulations were insane. I could just not get started. So I imagine it's like that for a lot of other businesses, that you make it unbearable to have business here. They're not going to do business here. You make it attractive to do business in the United States. I think companies will stay. That's my take on that. So feel free to ask all the questions. Tom Tamayo says, last question for me. Do you think people are buying firearms in this time due to panic? What's your opinion? I 100% think that. Of course people are panicking. They don't trust the government to keep them safe, and they have every right to defend themselves. I just hope they're safe with their firearms. I find firearms boring myself. I could shoot expert with my eyes closed. I can literally take apart my weapon when I was in the military, eyes closed. But no, it's just a tool, and they feel that they're safer with that tools. Before we had firearms, we had swords, knives. We'd go to war, like literally thousands of soldiers would kill each other with swords. People are going to do what people are going to do. So, again, you asked, so it goes back to our last question that I touched on earlier. What kind of martial arts does the Army teach me? Really nothing, because that's not how we fight these days. We fight with firearms. So use the most effective tools. The most effective tools for an infantry soldier is his rifle, belt-fed machine guns, airplanes, tanks, that's it. And that's what we're going to be facing. So you have the best tools to keep you safe and fight as an Army or as an individual homeowner or a father trying to protect his family or a mother trying to protect her family. You just have the best tools possible. That's all it is. And of course, people are scared right now. And that's why the live stream tonight title is Don't Panic. And, but maybe those people are realizing they should have maybe prepared before. So I encourage everybody to be able to defend themselves. I myself am retired military law enforcement, so I'm actually entitled to a 50-state concealed carry. And that makes me feel really guilty as well. Why am I so special that I am entitled to a 50-state concealed carry license, but the father next door, I'm in a condo or, apartment. The guy next door, he's got a little kid. He's got his wife. I don't really talk to him. He seems like a decent guy. Why doesn't he get that? What makes me so special? The training is not that hard. It really is not. The average sniper is like 19 years old in the Army. The school's only like a month or two long. That's like the most extreme, firearms training there is, right? One of the most extreme. And that's like a month or two. So anyway, Sergio is going to ask me something I have no idea about. And I honestly, I don't feel comfortable answering this question, Sergio, because I am not 100% not an expert in the stock market. And I always, one of my pet peeves in life is people that are not experts in something pretending they are. So I cannot answer this question professionally. I just can't. I can refer you to people, Sergio, that would. I can tell you this basic thing that I've learned is buy low and sell high, right? That's all I know. So I'm not an expert in the stock market. I have little knowledge. I tried years ago, but I don't feel comfortable giving any advice at all in the stock market. I would call some of my friends to get expert advice in that. Other than buy low and sell high, leave it alone. I am an expert, in real estate. I could tell you how to invest in real estate, 100% comfortable with that. I had a real estate license in 2 states. My one in Hawaii expired. I'm still licensed. I still got a license in California, even though I don't use it. It's still good. So, and I've closed some real estate, a lot of real estate deals, purchased property of my own. So if you want investing advice in real estate, I am fully licensed and qualified to give that advice. So you're welcome, Sergio. But, here's a story. Here's a cool story. So I was at a debate in 2016. And this is when I was full-blown campaigning for school board my first time, 2016. It was at the Chinese Community Center, and it was one of the bigger debates for the school board race. And they asked me this really hardcore science question, like really hard. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm thinking, and I have all of 1 minute to prepare. It was like the speed round, 30 seconds per person you have to answer. And all these other candidates, including people that are on the school board now, they, and the urge for them, I know, is to try to pretend to be an expert in everything. And I was like, I'm not an expert in science. I don't have any education in science other than the most basic requirement for college. That's just not my expertise. I'm an expertise in anti-terrorism, security stuff, other things, real estate, whatever. So I had to, this was my answer, was I know, I know what I don't know, and I'm not an expert in this, and I would have to talk to the experts and get the opinions from the parents before I made any decision at all. I think almost word for word, that was my answer. And afterwards, people came up to me after the debate and volunteered for my campaign. Literally, they were like, thank you. That was the best answer. Just to be honest, you don't know. So anyway, that is good advice for any politician like Ben Chapman. Don't pretend you know everything. We're humans. You're not going to know everything. So anyway, Tom Tamayo says he would wait for investing in the S&P at this moment. There is still more blood to be shed in the market. So there you go. There's some advice. I'm not going to comment on it other than some things I saw. I will comment on what I saw today. And what someone told me is it started bouncing back. I'm in other investments, but yesterday my investments all crashed, and today it crashed like by 50%, and it came back a little bit today. So I saw the account go way down and it bounced back up a little bit. So that's all I'm going to say about that, other than call an expert that's certified to do that. So there's that question if anyone is joining us and wondering what we're talking about. Wow, it's like 1:30 in the morning. All right. And I know politicians are going to criticize me. He stayed up all night. And full disclosure, I had a bunch of coffee right before he started, and it didn't kick in until like I was talking with Pam, and I started to wake up. Bad side is I drank a lot of coffee, and I need to end this soon to go to the bathroom. So I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys and you 5 that have hung out with me. If you'd like to answer any more questions, I'll hang out for another 15, 20 minutes if you guys want. You guys have honestly asked me some questions that have brought out some really good memories that I wanted to remember and think and talk about, and I'm glad that I had that. So we have a question. Tom Tamayo says, do you watch UFC? I used to really watch it, and for me, it was a really exciting times when I knew the fighters. Like when I was fighting in Hawaii, if you were serious about it, you would actually get to train with pro fighters, and we had a couple of pro fighters in our club, and I'd say train, they'd beat me up, right? Before I did my fight, I literally got beat up 3 hours a day, just punched in the face for hours, right? By these professional fighters, but I did get good at the amateurs. But it was really exciting to me when I would see UFC or these big national fights, and I would know the guys. So that was really exciting for me. I don't really watch it now. If I do, I'll watch it for technical stuff, kind of like, yeah, it's kind of cool, and kind of pick it apart. But I prefer to train MMA, and I prefer to train UFC fighting versus to watch it. Unless I know somebody, then it's personal and it means a lot to me. It's like watching my friends' kids play sports. It's more meaningful than watching someone I don't know. On that note, you're getting me all excited and pumped up to go back to the gym, and I've been meaning to do that with the weather getting warmer and with lots of time in my hands because all of my events got canceled. So I'm gonna have more time to go to the gym. So, and then I was notified in July, one of my political associations has a pool party. So I need to get a 6-pack abs for that pool party. And if I can get 6-pack abs by the summer and I can campaign with that, yeah, that's going to be great. I can always drop some jokes. And they're like, why should you vote for me? Why should we vote for you? And you can make some jokes about that you're the most physically fit candidate. You're disciplined, maybe you could say something like that. No. Donna says, go wash your hands. Okay. Look, this is what we have this everywhere. Trust me. We're good. Actually, I'll put some on now. There you go. So I think I've washed my hands like 5,000 times in the last week. Yeah, don't panic. But Sergio Hennes says, you can do it very easy. Yeah, I know. Yeah, doing it and knowing how to do it are two different things. Just like this election season, I know what I have to do this year, and I'm not looking forward to it. I got to climb a mountain again. I have to knock on 20,000 doors, literally, this year. I have to raise about $50,000 to $200,000. It's going to take a lot of work, just like 6-pack abs, Sergio. And but at the end, it's going to be worth it. I know this last summer I spent with my family in Thailand, and I ate healthy. I hit the gym every day for 40 days straight. That's really all I did. Like all my friends said, what'd you do in Thailand? I was like, absolutely nothing. I went to the gym, went to the beach, hung out with my real estate friends. Well, we did look at condos and real estate and picked up the deal, but that was a small part of it. Mostly just sitting with my kids, taking them to touristy stuff and doing as little as possible other than the gym. And I was so excited at the end of the summer. I was looking great. And then of course the primaries happened and I didn't work out. So we're going to get back to it. And then I have to take a big deep breath. And one of the first steps is some literature I have to create this week and get it printed. I already have volunteers contacting me. They want to start door knocking and campaigning like literally next week. So that's music to my ears because I know we're going to win. I know my rivals, they're going to start freaking out when they see us door knocking, and they should. But I don't want to give my political rivals too much grief, as I am going to, I want to support them. This is a tough day. I'm looking at them. I know they're stressed out, and I don't want them to be stressed out. I would like them just to work with me. I would have, if they had to talk to me years ago when I was trying to work with them, if they had been smart like our mayor and just asked me to sit up on a committee for him, I probably would have worked for him. Probably wouldn't have ran. I just would have just contributed. But they, in the absence of leadership, I'm going to provide leadership. That's it. So Donna says, I will help you. I will help you do this. Hit me later up on Facebook. Well, no, while we're here, if you want to help me, we do need to raise a ton of money. So you go to the website. So markforirvine.com. That's my website. This website, I haven't updated in a while, but a little bit about me. This is a crosswalk we got for a school recently. I'm extremely proud of this and that we got this done. This was, took too long to get done, but we got it done. And it was specifically me. I'm super proud of it. And it wasn't that hard. The city got it done for us, and the school's very happy. So you got tons of stuff. There's our awesome mayor right here. That's Christina Shea. That was, I think, at last Veterans Day, last November 11th. So that was, so a little about me. That's my son. So that day, this was an awesome day. So let me tell you about this day right here. My son did not know he was going to Disneyland. I totally tricked him. He thought he was going to school, but I called him out sick. He didn't know it. And I took him to Disneyland that day. So, and I told him I had to do something in Anaheim. So like, okay, son, I'm going to, and he's like, why are we in the highway? I'm like, no, I just got to do something. He's like, we'll be late for school. And it's like, no. Don't, I was like, don't worry. We're, it was such an awesome, I got a video too of him, and I put the camera to him, and he starts seeing the signs for Disneyland. He's like, no way. Cause I had threatened him something. I was like, one of these days you're going to think you're going to go to school, and I'm going to take you to Disneyland. And I did. And he just went crazy. He was like, oh my God, no school. This is awesome. He's like trying to text all of his friends. He's like, we're going to Disneyland today. I mean, talk about a 9-year-old's dream. Just, he thought he was going to school on the random Friday. I think it was a Friday, and ended up going to Disneyland instead, and I was trying to like pretend I was like unhappy, I'm getting his like, get your backpack in the car. And, it's such an awesome day. And, and then he spent the day with Disneyland with his dad. I mean, that you can only do that a couple times in your life, where you surprise your kid and he thinks he's going to school and he ends up going to Disneyland. But that's the benefit of living in OC. And I'm kind of sad Disneyland actually is shut down right now with this coronavirus. So I just wanted to share that memory with you. And here's some other stuff, me interviewing other politicians on live stream. That's Peggy Wong. She ran for Congress. And then, of course, and some other stuff. It's all here. And there's Greg Raths at his kitchen table or dining room table. And, of course, Greg Raths won. So anyway, that's me, because I'm on the Waste Management Commission. There's tons of stuff. That's my daughter speaking at City Council. That was also a good memory. She freaking nailed that speech, man. She did awesome. And there's my kids' first day of school. I know. So tons of stuff. That's when Don Wagner swore me in as a commissioner. And I looked at these pictures right there. And that's why I did the gym all summer. I was like, I'm fat here. So I saw those and I'm like, we're gonna go to the gym all summer long when I'm on vacation and come back healthy. So that's that. As far as graphic design, I don't need any help with graphic design. My graphics are not going to change. That logo is going to stay the same. Social media, I'm not sure what kind of help you're talking about, Tom. What I do need is money, because I've got to buy mailers, and printed mail is a thing that works, and it's still part of the campaign. So if you guys want to help me out, you go to markforirvine.com and click on the link. I have no donation limit, so you guys can donate $1 million to the campaign if you want. So far, we got like I put $500 more money in. Well, on this campaign, I've actually in for like $500,000. But you guys can donate and help me out. This will go to mailers, signs, and all that stuff, because I pay for everything mostly myself. And also those live streams and all other stuff that we do. So I do need help with that if you want to spread the website, markforirvine.com. I always forget to mention that. So appreciate it. What else we talk about? Man, it's like 2 a.m. Should not have been drinking coffee at like 11 o'clock at night, but what does it matter? Because there's no plans. Tomorrow morning, or this morning at 9 o'clock, I was planning on going to see Dr. Jeffrey Barkey and his wife Mary Barkey, and then I think Mark Bucher and possibly Dr. Ken Williams. They were going to be there for a tour of the new charter school opening up in Orange Unified School District. It's a classical kids academy. I'll try to pull up the website. And it's free to the public, classical education academy. Classic. Okay. I'll be typing forever, so I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Maybe I can pull up on Facebook. Yeah, hold on. I get on Facebook. I'll go to Dr. Barkey's. There you go. I found it. Okay, I'll show you this. I know he's got the thing, but he posted that they canceled it, unfortunately. Oh no, it's not. Dang it, hold on a second. Classical. Orange County Classical Academy. That's the name of it. Okay. So this is the name of this new academy that they, and actually I spoke to help them out so we can have school choice. And this is a classical curriculum for the kids. And this is preferred. People absolutely hate Common Core. That is awful. Everybody hates it. I don't know why we still have it. I don't know why they kept Common Core. It's so awful. Everyone hates it. I just overuse that word literally. I have talked to at least 5,000-10,000 people face to face in Irvine about Common Core. And I ask them, say, what do you think of Common Core? And I just shut up. And every single time they absolutely hate it. Not a single person says they like it. Not a single person. Teachers are not supposed to speak about it privately. I've had teachers tell me they don't like it. And then they won't say anything about it. They just kind of change the subject. So I'll speak up. I'm very comfortable saying Common Core is horrible and different curriculums are preferred. Also, integrated science. Community hates it. And from what I heard, a rumor, they're doing because it's cheaper. And it's like, okay, we're going to address integrated science in Northwood High School. That community utterly just cannot stand it. We're going to get rid of that. So, this is a good one. What are some other characteristics you saw in other people made you not want to do business with them? I like this question. How they treated service staff. That's it. Seriously, take someone out to lunch. How do they treat their server? How do they treat a server? One of my friends who is a multimillionaire, successful business guy now, he was a server. And he was treated awful, and now he's a successful guy. And he wrote a book about it. It's The Cards You Were Dealt by Jeff Clyde. And he'd always tell me, how do your friends treat your server? So take them out to eat, and buy them a lunch, take them to a restaurant. How do they treat their server? That's how they're going to treat people when you're not looking. You know, that server is a human being with a family, and they're an intelligent person. Why treat your servers bad? So I always try to treat service people extremely well. So if someone treats a server or waiter bad, I'm not going to do business with them. That's not going to happen. If they're going to be nasty to people, that's that. You know, and that's some of the personal characteristics I would look for. Or someone that treats their staff poorly. That treats you good, but they might abuse their staff or belittle people. That's not going to work. And I'm telling you, you don't need to do that to lead people. You don't. As a military officer, I almost never yelled. I don't remember ever yelling at my soldiers when I was an officer leading hundreds of people. And I was an effective commander. I mean, I still talked to my boss, and he liked me when I was a company commander, when I was a lieutenant, sergeant. Never felt it necessary to be like that. And there's times you're firm when you're going to yell because there's like you're shooting gunfire and God, dude, come move all that stuff. But to be absolutely nasty to people is unnecessary. So I wouldn't do business with them if they did that. And a good test is take them out to eat, see how they treat their server. And that's a good indicator of into their mind of how they think, how they feel, how they treat others. And there we go. Back to the curriculum. Common Core sucks. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. And if I knew anyone that liked it, I would let you know. But I'm talking thousands and thousands of people have told me the exact same thing. So I usually try to stay away from, initially I try to stay away from controversial topics when I was a first politician because I didn't understand maybe what people wanted, or I try to, I get a good feeling. So I just try to be really positive and nice to people and stick to the things I know. Because I didn't initially, of course, at first I did not know curriculum, but eventually I learned it. And I learned everybody hates Common Core curriculum and integrated science. And integrated science, it can be fixed at the school district level. Common Core cannot. One of the ways around it is charter schools. And charter schools, that's a whole mess because the unions but you guys knew that. So Sergio says, very interesting. Wrote that down. Keep in mind. Yeah, and you know what? Somebody that's really smart and I really look up to. This young up and coming politician. His name is Ben Chapman. Not heard of him? Running for Costa Mesa City Council Area 2 or District 2. He treats his servers very well. By the way, he's always extremely polite to people, and that's something I like. And if he would have treated anyone bad, I wouldn't have supported him. But he does. So he's a good person. He really is. Okay. So Sergio says, can you elaborate on this quote? Find the lesson in the bad. That's interesting. Find the lesson in the bad. even a bad situation, even something bad, you can turn it to something good. One of the things I don't talk about very often is the traumatic events that happen in my family. And I'll tell you in person, I won't do it on a live stream of the extreme things that happened to my kids that caused such a traumatic event in our lives that I got in the military and stayed out. It was a victim of a horrific crime. So I'll just leave it there. So the lesson, the bad is something bad can motivate you to do something good. And I do believe that I've been doing, from the feedback I've been getting from parents, that a bad thing can be turned into a good thing. And it really does. And, when I get phone calls from parents saying, thank you, you helped my kids, you helped this, and it brings to mind, makes me happy. So you can find the silver line in the cloud, And even this horrible thing they're going through right now, something good happened. I hate, I'm trying to find the good things. Gil Cisneros, he's a congressman, the local congressman. He, his go-to is trashing Trump. He actually posted something good about the president, so they're working together. So good. There are some good when bad things happen. Donna's asking, is this classical school academy like the Pacific Academy? Well, I don't want to give you quotes. I'll just say you can go to this website and you can learn all about it. It's orangecountyclassicalacademy.org, and it says everything on their website. You can learn about it. It's in Orange Unified School District. It has been approved. They were supposed to have a little bit of a tour of the new facilities tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., but it got canceled because of the coronavirus. So they are scheduled to be open in September, and they're taking students. Sorry, I had to cough. So there's that. So go ahead and check that out. They're accepting students. I think it's a little bit out of our commuting area, so my kids will probably stay where they're at. And my son, he really wants to stay with his current school. He's been in the same school since kindergarten, so he's probably going to go through high school with that same group of kids. Cool. I love all these questions. It's all bringing good memories. Donna Robin says, the lesson that you learn from it, good or bad and different, you learn from it. I don't know if it's a question or a statement, Robin. Sounds more like it's more like a statement, I think. It's okay. All right, my coffee's still wired in coffee. Jeez. But again, I figured why not stay up late and chat because I got no plans tomorrow. I'm just going to stay home. And my wife, who is an operating room nurse, she's like, don't go out. And because I went to South Coast Plaza today to get something from the shoe store real quick. And she says, try not to go out, just stay home. I said, okay, so we're going to stay home. Do you think finding jobs will be harder now? No. I think Americans especially innovate better than any other country in the world. And we're going to become very creative, very innovative, and we're going to adapt extremely quickly. We are the trendsetters in the entire world for the human race and the whole planet. So people are going to look to us for leadership and guidance the world over. And they know that we invented so much stuff, our culture. So I think we're actually probably going to create jobs out of this and bring people together. Just like I said before, we had a local Democrat congressman actually posted something kind about the president. That's shocking. So I think it won't go the way. It'll be okay. So Adi Parita says, what are we going to do? Excuse me. Your last name makes me laugh because of what it means in Russian. So Adi, you should look that up, what your last name means, and talk to a Russian. That reminds me of a specific story because when we were getting set to jump with the Russian paratroopers in 1997, Captain Paritas' name was called, and all the Russian soldiers started laughing. So anyway, what are we going to do is what you're saying. Now, I don't know in regards to what. Like in general, first off, don't panic. Just like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. It's going to be fine. We're going to be okay. Listen to medical experts, common sense, all that stuff. So don't panic. So appreciate, but seriously, ask me questions. I'm enjoying chatting with you guys. I haven't done this in a very long time. Actually sat and chat with people and kind of missed it. I used to do this for hours and talk politics over and over and over again. And when you would do this for 2, 3, 4 hours a day in your life, you would end up getting thousands and thousands of views and support. Okay, so the coronavirus. So I am blessed and lucky to live with a live-in nurse, my wife, and she's a medical expert. She's been being a nurse over 20 years. She is an operating room nurse, and she is one of the most sought after nurses in her hospital here in Kaiser in Irvine. So, and she does all sorts of types of major surgeries, like really crazy stuff. So she's really smart, and obviously to be one of the top nurses, knows how to not get any infection and all that stuff. And she has all this stuff around the house. We got masks, and yeah, so there you go. We're prepared. So I'm going to try to get her on tomorrow. Me and my wife will do a live stream so she can talk about the coronavirus. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I only know what she tells me and what they see on TV. And I've never gotten any professional training for medicine, so I just have to trust in them and follow expert advice. I do have confidence in local elected leadership, especially the city of Irvine. We have an amazing city council who acts quick and very decisive. And just last night, night before last, they put politics aside. They came together for our city extremely quickly. And, if, sometimes you think they don't get along, but when it comes down to the health and welfare of our people, they really did an awesome job. So thank you to our mayor and council. So that's what about the coronavirus is what I got to say. Don't panic. It's going to be fine. Of course, there are people stressing out, and that's why I'm going to do a lot more live streaming so people can use me to connect with others. For some reason, excuse me, as I'm coughing, like everything's fine. I'm coughing up a lung. It's just from talking nonstop, and I don't have any water, and I don't want to interrupt you or cut the feed to go get water. I'm going to do a lot more live stream, and I have it's kind of weird with me. I connect with others really quickly, so I tend to know a lot of people, network. So if you guys need something from me, I kind of tend to know where the right place to find it. And that goes back to my military training. Like when you were taught to be a leader in the military, you're not taught to be an expert in any really, you're taught to just know a little bit about a lot of things and where to find it. Even when the initial sergeant trained to E5, the lowest level sergeant, they taught you for a month straight, 12 hours a day, how to reference where to find it. What organization does that? Okay, you need, for this answer, who do you call? Inspector General or JAG officer or supply. You just know where to find things. So you don't have to be an expert in everything, but you know where to find everything. You're going to be fine. And that training so works. So if people in the community need stuff, I know where to find it. I might not be expert, but I know if you need investigations, I go talk to the traffic investigation. I'll go talk to the traffic guy, Sergeant so-and-so, or you need a crosswalk. I don't know how to do a crosswalk, but I know Mr. Tran. He'll get it done over at Irvine. Or the special education director is so-and-so, and that's how I was trained. And I think it's very useful in these types of environments in a crisis, emergency situation. Like I was in the military, we had to deal with this stuff all the time. And traumatic response, crisis response team, the CRT, I was kind of part of that quasi in Germany for a little bit as a civilian. But it's really good when you know where to get everything, and then you have your specific experts. So anyway, thank you, Sergio. Hey, Mark, have a meeting at 9 a.m. Have a good night. Appreciate the feedback. Hey, Sergio, before you go, if you're still there, if you haven't logged off, give me a call. We'll have to have a coffee sometime with your brother, Ben, and talk to you later. Okay, I probably should hang up soon, but, why not? Let's just hang out. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I don't want to do it wrong. So Mr. Paredes. Okay, keep us posted. Need to go to sleep. We'll help with homeschooling. Oh, yeah, if you need help with homeschool, definitely 100%. Just send me. I put my kid in homeschool for a semester. She had a medical reason. So temporarily put her in homeschool. So, yes, I can 100% connect you to homeschool resources. 100%. I can answer your question on that. I am not the absolute expert, but I'm really good at that, as I had to, out of a necessity, temporarily put my kid into homeschool. And, of course, the following year, she went back to public school, and she was okay once the medical issue was over. Mr. Predis, definitely with the homeschool stuff, just send me a text, send me an instant message, and I will send the information to you instead of explaining it to you. And you can get up to like $5,000 or $6,000 a year in educational benefits for your kids for homeschool. There's like a whole explanation to it, and we got the funding for my daughter when she needed the special education stuff and all that. So, yeah, reach out to me. I'll take care of that too easy. Okay. So Donna says, I see on Facebook that many children out there depend on school for free lunches. What's going to happen with these kids? I'm not sure about Irvine schools, but I do see surrounding cities where the parents are concerned, I feel for these kids. So do you know what is going on with that? Yes, I do. And it was in the email that the superintendent sent out today. It's in this email if you read it. If you have a kid in Irvine Unified, then you got this email that was sent out today. Oh, what's going on with my, okay, it's good now. Oh, sorry. My green screen is acting up. So you got that email. It was sent out. It says what's going to happen. And I do believe that they're still going to be providing food for kids. So that should be sort itself out because they still have the facilities, they still have the food, and those kids that depend on the food will get the food. End of story, they're going to get it. So we're good to go. Just trying to deliver the food probably presents a logistical challenge, which I'm actually very confident that the school district will get the food to the kids. I know it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, contact me. I will 100% advocate, and I'm just confident that they'll probably take care of that, and I really doubt that's going to be an issue. If it is, we will fix it. So anyway, awesome. Cool. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for all the comments. I'm going to have to do this more often. So since I'm not going anywhere because of coronavirus, I'm probably going to be live streaming nonstop. Telling people don't panic. Enjoy it. I will say thank you guys for asking me the mixed martial arts questions and telling you those stories and recording it. I think those are one of those stories that my son might want to hear about when he's in his 20s or 30s or 40s when I'm dead. And he says, oh, my dad was, did this in the Army. He might think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I know when I was a young soldier in the Army, like 18, we'd always talk about our fathers and our parents that served in the military. Because a lot of us joined the military. We had family in the military. So it, maybe, we got this now. We got it recorded. It's public record. This is, thank you. Appreciate you, Sergio, and all you guys, Tom, that ask all those questions. I really appreciate you pulling that out of me and letting me think through that and reliving those stories. That was really enjoyable because that was fun back in the days. Anyway, I probably got to get out of here too, even though you guys have been hanging out with me for 2 hours. Appreciate it. So we had Amy Fan West, Pam Raglan. Tomorrow we'll probably have Kelly Earnby. Greg Raths, before I went live, he texted me. So we'll try to get Greg on to do a live. Probably just have him call in, or I'll figure out how to do some video chat with him. I usually do that, but we might be able to patch him in so you can see his face talking. But I do like the idea of just putting their photo up here and making them look good versus a poor quality video chat might not be as good. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me this long. Thank you for hanging. And oh man, I forgot. You know what I did forget to do was I forgot to open this because I get to see who is watching, and that's an interesting thing. A lot of people, a lot of politicians. I'll leave it this. A lot of politicians don't know, like these older generations. They don't understand that I can see who's watching. It tells you who's watching. So the other day, someone says, "I heard this. You said this," and I'm like, "No, you didn't hear it. I told you because I know you were watching the live stream, and I said it on purpose." Just like the other day, I think it was this whole school board, because one of the school members was watching me before their school board meeting. It was during their closed session, they have closed session between 5:30 and 6:30, and the public meetings at 6:30. And one of the school board members were watching me for like good 30, 40 minutes. So I don't think she would had it on mute or was watching for just a minute. She was watching, like the school board was watching the live stream during their private. So they're probably discussing, what are we going to do? Like, cause he's probably going to win the election. But the answer is, you got to work with me. Let's talk. Let's come together for the kids and let's do the right thing. That's it. I'm easy to work with. I'm just a dad trying to take care of my kids. That's it. So anyway, guys, appreciate you guys hanging out. Donna, I can still see you're watching us, so thank you for that. And a few other people. It is 2 a.m. I better get to bed. I'll be sleeping in, and then I'll be going live pretty much all weekend, I guess. So just be at home with like everyone else, maybe watching TV, and hanging out with my family, making sure my wife stays well because she has to go to work at the hospital Monday. So, because she's a healthcare worker. Anyway, guys, sorry. Talk to you guys later.